Time to play catch up. Haven't had a lot of time to talk Halo Infinite here at Gaming Trend, but now that my desk is clear of all the extra stuff, it's time to make time. And now I have IGN's Travis Northup here to help me talk about all the details that we have not been able to talk about. Travis, how you doing?
Doing great, man. I'm really excited to both of us have been able to put aside some of our time to talk about Halo, because I really do not get to talk about Halo enough. You know,
that's
always
what
looking
I'm saying.
For looking for opportunities, so I'm very excited.
This is it. We finally get to just lay it all out.
Yeah, damn right.
So Travis is a writer at IGN. He's also a contributor here at Gaming Trend, and you can follow him on Twitter at TieGuyTravis. So obviously, I was about to say Bungie. Whew, I went way back for a second. 343 launched,
that's right,
and showed the new campaign trailer, which I have to say looks much better, at least from a graphical standpoint.
Yeah.
Looks much better. What was your reaction to the campaign showing versus the first one?
Oh my God, that's a lot to unpack. I guess I'll just start with what you led with which is the visual component. So for me, I never really cared about the visuals too much. You know, I'm one of those guys who, like, for me, Halo's always been about gameplay. Combat Evolved is like an amazing game. Halo 2 is an amazing game. And those games, if you play the original Halo 2 campaign right now, it's kind of hard to get through technically. Like it's just very ugly looking. And the lighting is really bad in some levels. I actually did replay through part of Halo 2's campaign with the original graphics, and I was like, wow.
Yeah.
It's
night and day.
Yeah. And actually, you know what I'm thinking is we saw that first trailer of the Halo campaign before the Series X came out. So if I had to guess, I think that original footage we saw was like OG Xbox footage. Like, and I bet you the game's going to look kind of like that on the previous generation of consoles, because keep in mind, this game is backwards compatible. Yeah. So I have a feeling that that version of Craig is probably still going to exist somewhere. You know, on someone's console, there's going to be a version of that, or maybe low-end PCs. But yeah, I'm very happy that Halo looks beautiful and that everybody's happy with it. I kind of had no doubt that it would look beautiful, but if there were any doubt in our mind of whether it was worth waiting an extra year for Halo, it appears to have been worth it, my friend. It looks beautiful and great. So yeah, for the visual component, I was very excited. But again, it's never a huge like main draw for me, but it certainly is nice. So
yeah. It was nice to look at something that did look better. I find it a little sad that it came to the point where it's like now that the graphics are good, the game is good. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yes,
it is one of those things. It's like nobody really talked about the sandbox element when the original was shown. We were just so focused on the graphics, either defending them or criticizing them. And I'm like,
how about the fact that it's open world? Like, how little discussion did that get? Like, that's such a huge item to what they announced last year.
That's what I'm saying. So now that they show this, still the conversation's around the graphics, but the sandbox didn't really look any different. And now I go back and look at the old one, and I'm like, the sandbox still looked good in what they originally showed. It still looked fun. And now that we've got a taste of it with the multiplayer, I could kind of imagine what that might feel like.
Yeah.
But the conversation surrounding the graphics, and it's like, yes, the graphics are going to be great. So yes, the game's going to be great. And it shouldn't be that way. With Halo, whenever did anyone consider the graphics when the original Halos came out on each of the consoles, right? Like, nobody was like expecting Halo to be the graphical showcase for the Xbox 360 or the Xbox One. It was always either Forza or something else to be that graphical showcase. But for whatever reason, I don't know if it's because it's the next generation of people. I don't know if it's because it's the first major exclusive coming out for the Series X.
Yeah, maybe.
It'll be after Forza Horizon 5. But it's the second major exclusive. So that's what people are expecting. I don't know. It's just weird. But now that we've gotten out of the way, we can finally focus on the sandbox. How are you feeling about the sandbox?
We can finally have some conversations about the actual content of the game.
Yeah,
I'm right up there with you. Like, I think So a lot of people have made comments about like the open worlds. I saw some people on Twitter comparing it to the Far Cry model. Since Far Cry 5 is out there in the wild, a lot of people are playing that. Or sorry, Far Cry 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is a great game, by the way.
I'm enjoying
But
it.
I sort of think people are kind of missing the point when they compare the Halo Infinite, what we saw, to Far Cry, because to me, when they announced Halo Infinite, they said that it was a soft reboot, which sort of made me a little wary, because I was like, a soft reboot? Like, are they going to backtrack on the story of Halo 5? Like, what does that actually mean to the Halo franchise? And now that I've seen more of the gameplay and have an understanding of what it is, I think I understand what they mean by that, which is that, when I played Halo Combat Evolved, that moment where you crash land on the Halo ring, and you come out of the pod and you can just explore, and you go to those different outposts and you're saving people. That level was like a transformative experience for me. I feel like my brain leveled up that day. Like I just like it was like, oh my God, like this is crazy. And I feel like
seeing
they
the
must have had
fly overhead.
Yeah. And
the waterfall
I feel like
in the background.
Yeah, I feel like 343 must have had a conversation sometime after Halo 5, or maybe even before Halo 5 was out, and said, wouldn't it be great to get back to that really simple idea of just like, what could Halo be if you just landed on a ring and explored it? And the reason I say before Halo 5 came out, because if you beat the legendary campaign of Halo 5, there's a cutscene that shows the Zeta Halo, which is the setting for Halo Infinite. So part of me thinks that this was always kind of part of the plan. Maybe not as harsh of a focus on the Master Chief, and I'm sure they changed some narrative focuses and stuff based on feedback. But I think the general concept was probably conceived before Halo 5 was even available to the public. And to me, it's a brilliant idea, and I think people are really underestimating how transformative it might be to the Halo franchise, because they say it at the end of the trailer, like this is the new generation of Halo, like this is them evolving and going to the next thing. And I think if they do it right, if they nail the story, which is a big if, considering like all the challenges they have with the new open world format, and if the gameplay is good, which based on what I've seen for multiplayer, I don't think that's going to be a problem. But you never know. It is a new sandbox. It no longer uses the what is it? The POW? What is it? It's some sort of explosive noise. Sandbox. The engine that they used. Kablam! Thank you. The Blam.
I totally forgot about that.
Yeah. The Blam sandbox. So it's a brand new sandbox, or a brand new engine. So there's some possibilities of like, are they going to get the AI right? Like AI is one of the things that Halo is like way ahead of its time. So that's like a pretty important one. Stuff like that. But I think if they get the gameplay and the story right, this could be the Breath of the Wild to the Legend of Zelda franchise. This could be that for Halo. And I think if it is, it's just gonna blow everyone away, because Halo's gameplay has always been top of the line. If they can combine that with a great story, open world, and just fun, and then when co-op comes next year, oh man, it's gonna be wild. So I was very excited to see both this campaign and the one we saw a year ago, just because for me the premise is perfect. It's what Halo should have been. You know what I mean? For years,
This is what I'm feeling about the whole sandbox, and I guess it mirrors back to that moment you talked about where you crash land on the first Halo, and if you look, there's an exact parallel, right there in the first campaign trailer, where the ship is blown up and you crash land on that Zeta Halo, right? And so it's supposed to have that same feeling, that same sense of, I'm about to discover a whole new Halo ring. But the thing about the difference is, mechanically, I suppose, every time you played Halo Combat Evolved, right, it's the same thing you see. This time, all that stuff is going to be happening, I think, and I guess you could say for a visual element, like in that Ubisoft way, where stuff is just happening around the world. So I'm thinking Banshees are going to be flying overhead in random ways instead of a scripted way, like it always is in Halo. So it's going to feel different every time you turn on the game, and every time you destroy a stronghold or whatever the case may be. Like, not only is it going to feel fresh that first time, it might feel fresh multiple times because stuff is changing on the fly. I feel like that's going to be the big difference for this.
And that's before we even really get into the other crazy stuff, which is like the RPG tree that they show in this new trailer, where apparently there's like upgrades and stuff, which is crazy. Yeah. We saw Master Chief using a boost from Halo 5, his little side boost, which they took out of the multiplayer, but apparently it's still in the campaign. The grappling hook, which it looks like it's going to be so much fun in the campaign. And then there's something else I wanted to bring up on this one, which is that I lost it. I lost my train of thought. There's something I wanted to talk about with the something about the campaign that they showed in the trailer. I can't remember.
Strongholds?
Come back to me. Strongholds? No. I have my own thoughts about Strongholds. I think people think that the game's going to be Strongholds, and to me, I feel like that's a side quest, and the game is still going to have main missions where like you go and you do stuff, and it's got like cutscenes and traditional levels. I remember what I was going to talk about. I was going to talk about the fact that one of the main things that excited me about this trailer is that Halo Combat Evolved was probably the most open of the Halo campaigns because, if you go to like two betrayals, like there's so many different ways to approach that level and, backwards and forwards. And they sort of went and got progressively more narrow in their scope. And I think Halo 4 was the worst, where it's literally just hallways. Like you're just sort of running through hallways, killing things. And 5 opened it up a little bit with some of the alternate paths you could take, but it was still not as free as Combat Evolved. And
it just felt like a fork that led to one lane.
Yeah. I mean, it's better. I like Halo 5's campaign better. The story I like 4 better, but the campaign, the levels that you play, I like 5. But yeah, I think this is like a reversal of that, right? Like it's going back to like the original idea of like freedom and encountering stuff organically and like figuring out a new way around it. And I'm wondering if they'll keep that spirit when you actually do the missions. You know what I mean? Like, because there's obviously going to be missions in between the open world stuff. And I'm wondering, are those missions going to be more linear, kind of like the old campaigns or the more recent campaigns? Or are they going to retain that sort of like open feel of the open world?
Or keep that open world feel, but all of it is organic. So not only are you completing a mission, but you might get interrupted by maybe you had to go by a stronghold, and now you've accidentally initiated the stronghold. So now you're doing the mission, and you got the problem with the stronghold on you as well.
That could be cool. I kind of think like for the campaigns, they might want to keep it a little bit more focused and maybe make it less random. But I would like it if they used the like open world to make the levels feel like a more like you can approach it your way. You know, like in 2 Betrayals when you can steal the Banshee and then just fly, know, to the ending of the level or something crazy like that. Like I always loved the freedom you got in the first Halo game, and in 2, to its credit. I think 3 is when it started sort of getting more linear, and then 4
by
was
3 it was fairly linear, fun but linear.
Yeah. Although there is that fight you can find in Halo 3 where the Brute Chieftain challenges you to a 1v1.
Oh yeah,
you remember that? Yeah. Where that organic moment where and they're all just watching, and if you don't attack them, they won't attack you. It's so funny. I replayed Halo 3 recently, and I forgot how good that campaign was.
I need to replay the full campaign. I hadn't played it in a while.
Yeah, apparently you can play it in VR now, and it's crazy. The Halo 3 campaign, you can play it in first person in VR, like when you're driving the Warthog and stuff, which seems crazy.
That seems crazy. I don't know how that would work in terms of shooting, but
I saw footage of it, and I was like, this kind of looks cool, though.
Okay.
I think the way it works in shooting is you're just wearing the headset and you're sitting playing with the keypad. I don't think it has like full like you jumping around and shooting.
Yeah, because like, Borderlands 2 VR is more like you can.
So is Half-Life Alyx.
Yeah.
Half-Life Alyx, like, but Half-Life Alyx
wild.
is perfect.
Half-Life Alyx is pretty nice. I feel like the open world's going to more act like Just Cause, where you have specific missions that you're going on, and it's not quite as Ubisoft-like, where it's kind of you do a mission and you complete it, and then you can kind of
you're back in the open world,
right?
That sort of thing.
Just Cause feels a little more, specifically Just Cause 3 feels a little more natural and organic, where you can engage other stuff as you're completing a mission, but most of the missions are just blow stuff up, and you have to blow up a certain amount of things. I feel like
I think you're probably right.
I feel like that's where Halo Infinite is going to take a direction if the strongholds are really like the focus of the game.
It doesn't seem like it to me.
I don't think it is, but I feel like it'll be a combination of what I was talking about with Just Cause 3, but also the strongholds are kind of the way you earn more stuff, because if it is supposed to be separated, the campaign, and then you have the rest of like the strongholds and everything else that you'll be able to do
with an S.
No, true.
According to 343.
Yes, you're right.
Campaigns.
You're right. But if it's supposed to be like that, then what is the point of the strongholds? There has to be an incentive to engage the strongholds in the first place.
Maybe that's how you unlock your RPG upgrades.
And that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
like it
something
has
like that.
So it might be a combination of what Ubisoft does with their side quests and like big side quest kind of missions, and then like Just Cause, where it's like you have the mission and you just go do it.
Yeah,
it could also
be
world.
Some open world games have like that thing where the main missions are locked behind you making progress in like the battle, so it could just be like, okay, destroy 5 more fortresses and then you'll unlock the next like main quest, like that sort of thing.
It could be. Yeah, that's true.
Like it's just sort of like competency checks, all right, once you make a little bit more progress, then it'll give you the next mission. So
I don't know if I would
can see that
though.
too.
Not for Halo.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how it goes. I mean, they would. The thing is, I kind of don't really care how they do it, because in all the places in between, I'm just going to be shooting things and playing Halo, and that doesn't sound bad.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Like in some games, that's annoying. In Just Cause, it's kind of annoying because you're like, all right, I've already blown up like 10 bases, but that's also sort of. Just Cause 3 is pretty good, but there are some times where you're like,
and what you have to blow up is so
true,
satisfying.
Yeah. That's true, but there are some times where you're like, all right, I'm on like the 50th base I've blown up. Like I kind of just want to go to the next mission. And I think the difference between Far Cry 6 and Just Cause 3 and Halo is that Halo has the advantage of being Halo. Like its gameplay is way better than those games. Like Far Cry 6 gets by because it's so over the top and it's got so many different vehicles and it's kind of just like chaotic, but it's chaotic in a good way. Halo is a super tight sandbox that feels amazing to play, and so I feel like they can get away with, like, it won't feel like grinding, you know what I mean? It'll feel like you're just blowing stuff up in Halo, and I feel like that's not, like, they can kind of get away with that a little bit. So I'm kind of not worried about it, to be honest. Like, I don't feel like there's ever going to be a time where I'm like, oh, why can't I just get to the next mission? I hate running around as Master Chief and killing grunts. Like, I just don't see that happening with me. So, and I feel like that's an advantage they have because their gameplay is just better. Like it's another great example of a game that follows that model. Destiny gets away with so much. Like they get away with way more than they should. And then what people always point to is, but the gunplay's so good. And you know what? They got me. It's the gun. They're right. The gunplay is
true.
Good. And I feel,
because that's my only saving grace.
Right? Yeah. And I me too, to be honest with you. Like, a lot of times Destiny annoys me, but I always go back to it's fun to shoot things. They get the formula right in a way that that Far Cry 6 could never get right. Like, the gunplay is just way sloppier. It's not the reason you come and stay. You know what I mean? You kind of come and stay for the goofy characters and the over the top missions and stuff like that. But like Destiny, and I think to the same extent Halo, they could get away with that because the gameplay is just so damn tight and nobody else can match it. So I'm not super worried about it, to be honest. The thing I'm worried about is the story not being good. Right. That's what I'm worried about. That's like the big question mark, right? And I haven't looked at the spoilers. I know everybody knows the story online, but I have not looked at any of that. Nope. You know about the leaks, though? Apparently both of the campaigns got leaked.
I have not looked at them.
Me neither. Yeah, I wouldn't even know where to find them. I'm not a hacker, okay?
No. I actually feel like the community's done a decent job of keeping the leaks under control.
I don't know anybody who's read them. I really don't. Honestly,
usually they just get out there and it's boom. But after 343 was like, hey guys, like, please, I know you guys know, but please don't do it. And I really haven't seen anybody do it.
I feel like if 343 didn't post about it, though, I wouldn't even know it was a thing. You know what I mean? Like,
pretty much.
It's kind of crazy. So did they stop it, or did they make me aware that it was out there? I'm not really sure. But
both. How do you feel
either
about,
way, I'm not super worried. Yeah.
How do you feel about the weapon? So we got basically the new Cortana. Speaking of story, we got the new Cortana. Now Master Chief has a new relationship with a new AI. And how are you feeling about it?
I'm very happy that they're sticking to their guns about Halo 5 Guardians. I'm probably one of the only people I know who thought that the Halo 5 Guardian story was really not as bad as everybody says. I think it had some writing issues, like it didn't really set up Blue Team. It didn't, you only play as Master Chief for 3 missions. Spartan Locke, he didn't really have enough time to like earn his place in the lore. Him winning a fight or fighting to a draw against Master Chief is kind of silly to me. There are stuff like that, but they're kind of all nitpicks. Like, to me, at its core, Halo 4 is, the loss, and Halo 5 is like a bad breakup that goes really wrong. Right. But I don't have a problem with any of the decisions they made story-wise, to be honest with you.
I like the way they took the story, which sets up Infinite.
Yes. Yeah, I think people will, in retrospect, think Halo 5 Guardians is a much better campaign than they thought it was originally, in the same exact way that everybody hated the Halo 2 campaign at first, because everybody was like, why am I playing as this damn, Covenant? And now he's like the most beloved character ever. Like, it's crazy how much of a 180 Halo 2's campaign, because I remember I was in high school when Halo 2's campaign came out, and no one liked it. No one. And like, I remember thinking to myself, like, I don't know, I kind of like the new Covenant guy. It's cool, you get to play as like the bad guy, but it didn't bother me, but it bothered a lot of people. And I think history might repeat itself, especially after Halo Infinite shows that they can do a good story if they do it. But the weapon, I love the new AI. I love that it's like that she's very naive and goofy. She kind of strikes me as like a very early Cortana, before Cortana was like, matured and stuff. Kind of reminds me of that. And I have a theory that the reason that she was like assigned to lock up Cortana is because I think she might be able to like merge with Cortana and bring some of her naivete to maybe draw back the rampancy that Cortana was feeling, or something like that. Maybe give her like a rebirth is my thinking, something like that. I'm not really sure if what we'll see from like Cortana and Halo Infinite, but I don't know if we'll even see her in the first campaign. I think they might keep that for campaign number 2, which may or may not launch with Halo Infinite, or maybe even one of the campaigns down the line. But it's clear they have a long tail kind of plan with this, and I don't think we'll see fruition in campaign 1. I think campaign 1 is going to be about the return of the Banished and you trying to take down the brute strongholds and beat them up and kind of like re-inspire humanity. But I think it'll probably end on like tune in next time to see, if we ever figure out what the heck happened to Cortana or anything like that. I think that's how they'll leave it. So, and then it'll just be a question of, all right, well, when do we get campaign number 2? Do they charge us extra for it? Is that the ending? Like, what, kind of, how do they do this? And those are the questions I really have for this campaign. Is I think I'm going to like the campaign they give us regardless. But is the story going to make sense? Are they going to get far enough with it where I feel like it was a full game? Or, I just have so many questions about like the formula here, because this is completely uncharted waters for the Halo franchise. So
I feel the same way. I am concerned about how they're going to roll all of this out. Pretty much the same.
It's just a lot to do.
But that's the thing. If they roll it out in like a seasonal format, like, do we get to engage with that? Because we still got the Battle Pass stuff that's happening. There's probably going to be campaign-related Battle Pass stuff you can do, as well as multiplayer. I don't know.
I think maybe after
I would
the
imagine
first
so,
year.
because why would you punish the campaign people? If they want, where's their progression going to come from? Is it just going to be the RPG elements? Is it going to be more than that? Obviously, we don't have everything.
Well, they've said that it's going to be like Halo Infinite's going to be the next main Halo game for like the next decade. They said something like to that effect, like that they're going to grow on this. But I feel like maybe Halo Infinite can just be what it is. Maybe they'll sell you an expansion every year, but I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't, and they just made it free to anybody who owned the base game, and they pay for it with the multiplayer money. I could just see that being what they do, right? Like,
I mean, that could be a thing.
The battle passes and microtransaction just funds this ongoing story mode that everybody buys or just gets through Game Pass, right? Because to me, Halo Infinite going on for 10 years isn't a play to like make money off of you every year with an expansion. I think it's a reason you stay subscribed to Game Pass, right? You just
For sure.
stay on Game Pass forever because they're just releasing content forever.
Which is why I do think the story could actually be better because of this, because they have time to flesh it out.
Feedback, and they get
Yes.
feedback from the audience. They kind of figure out where they're going to go. It kind of reminds me of that Halo 4 seasonal model. Do you remember this? It was called like Halo 4. It was like a something. It was like mini-sodes. Do you remember this? It was like you went into like little mini missions, and then they had little cutscenes every week or month or whatever.
I do remember that. I didn't spend a ton of time with Halo 4 because I wasn't a fan of it. But I do remember
the multiplayer is not good. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I like the story of Halo 4
that
a lot. Yeah, and I played through all of those. Like I loved the story of Halo 4. I thought the campaign and like the levels weren't great, and I thought the multiplayer was just not Halo multiplayer. Was not a fan of that. But I signed on every week or month or however long you were needed to play those episodes. And it kind of reminds me of that, like kind of a blend between like a TV show and a game, but mostly through like the game as a service model.
It's like coming back more and more as you talk.
Yeah, right?
I do
that was actually kind of cool. And like there's actually a lot of stuff in like Halo canon that happened in that. Like isn't that how Cortana loses her arm? Isn't that in that?
I think so.
Because she's like one-armed in 5 and you're like, what? And then if you play the Halo 4 stories, it's like, she loses her arm in that little like side story.
Her arm, but
Halo 4's EU is a little bit of a mess. I don't know if I've told you this before, but I have read every Halo novel and comic. Like I'm like fully caught up on the Halo canon, which is like there's like 25 books. There's like so many books.
I have 3 out of the 6 of the first set right now.
Nice. Yeah,
I'm still working.
Some of them are good, some of them are not so good, but their canon is immaculate. It's just like a little hard. It's hard to kind of dip your feet into. Like you can watch a Star Wars movie without reading any of the books and be fine, but Halo you kind of can't. Like Halo, some of the Halo games are really hard to understand if you haven't read or like dove into like the what's the lore book that Halo has. I have it on my shelf.
I forget the name of it.
Yeah, but like that big like coffee table book that just has all the lore in it. Like if you haven't read that, like Halo 5, a lot of its lore is just like
Halo 5 is hard to follow. Like if you haven't even read like Reach, like
if you don't know who Blue Team is, you're like, what the hell? Like, and even if you have read the expanded universe, like they don't explain how Blue Team survived because the last time he sees them, they're like in trouble. There's like a bunch of stuff they don't explain. So, I think this could be an opportunity to kind of get players into the EU by doing a story over time and kind of like just having more time to tell stories in Halo, which I think they've needed in games for a long time. My question is, can they keep the content coming regularly enough, and will it be high enough quality to keep people engaged, and will people care after the first 6 months, 9 months? Because I cover Destiny. I know that there's just a battlefield littered with corpses of people who've tried to do what Destiny does and failed. If there's any company that can do it, it's 343, because they are
with
Bungie,
Halo specifically.
With Halo specifically, but there's just lots of people have tried and not succeeded. So
this is why I wonder what they're going to do for people who particularly enjoy the PvE, which that's what they call it now in the Master Chief Collection, like PvE. Yeah. So I wonder how they're going to keep people engaged if they're going to do story as either episodic or seasonal. However they're going to do it, how are they going to keep people engaged, especially for those who burn out and just destroy and get every RPG element, within the first month and a half or so. What then? This is why I wonder, is the Battle Pass actually going to be extended towards campaign as well? Because what else is there to do? What else is there to unlock? We're in the progression era at this point. Like, there's no escaping it. People are going to want to feel like they're earning something.
Yeah, my guess is they'll probably be self-contained. Like, I'm sure they'll add stuff to the sandbox and stuff to the RPG, like, over time. But I feel like the draw will be, hey, it's a new story. And, hey, it's a new part of the ring. Or maybe it's a completely new location that we're going off to. So we're leaving the Halo ring and going somewhere else. Because there is precedent for that working.
Sure.
It's not the same game as a service model as, like, a Destiny, but it
Right.
is kind of like a, we're just going to keep adding on to it and adding new content, and you can stop playing for a while and then you'll come back and play, and then once you beat the new campaign then you'll leave for a while. And I think I would be okay with that. Like, I don't need to be
Yeah,
playing
that doesn't
Halo
sound as bad when you put it that way.
Yeah, I don't need to be playing Halo every day or every week or every month like a fortnight, right? And I don't know if I would even want to, because I feel like there would just be so much content to keep up with. But if they would just do like every 3 months, every 6 months, like a new campaign in Halo, and you get like 8-10 missions and a little open world area to like tackle and take over and lore to uncover, like I would hop on to Halo every 6 months and play a campaign. Like, that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
I have no idea how they would keep up with the demand, but if they could keep up a pace of one campaign every year or one campaign every 6 months, I would be floored and delighted. So
I mean, if that actually sounds very much like what Destiny 2 is doing right now with the seasonal content anyway. You know, what is it, every 3 months, I believe, right? Like,
yeah, theirs is a little
if they're on
aggressive.
track.
Yeah, I kind of think their model would be too much for Halo. I don't know if people have the appetite for that.
Right, but I'm just talking about the idea of, there is something to engage over a period of time.
What I hope they don't do, though, is I hope they don't follow Destiny's model of gating content behind every week. Because that's what Destiny does.
Right,
like, you buy the season pass, and then over like a 9 to 12 week period, you have to log in every week, and you get a little piece of the story.
Yeah.
And if I'm logging on every week to get one mission in Halo Infinite, I'm probably going to be a little salty. I hope they sell it as like self-contained campaigns. Hop back in, play through the campaign, then go do something else, and we'll have more content in 6 months. If they did that, I'd be like, perfect. Hell yeah. Every 6 months, log on and play Halo campaign. That's like my dream. Please.
Yeah. And then within that first year they're going to have co-op eventually, so that'll rejuvenate people to want to play. That's actually something I wanted to talk about, though. Do you think a lot of people are going to fall off by that, or at least not fall off, but be turned off before Halo Infinite comes out by the fact that now we've seen the campaign, now it's a little more enticing, but then you realize, oh frick, I can't even play with my friends.
Can't play with your friends. Yeah. I don't know. I'm sure. I guess I should just say, I'm sure. Yes, some people will be turned off by that. Is it enough to get people to not play Halo, especially when it's on Game Pass? It's got the lowest barrier of entry ever,
That's true.
And the multiplayer is undoubtedly going to be super popular, and it's free.
Yeah.
I just think they're doing too many things correctly for people to really sweat it. And also, just looking at the campaign they showed, I can't imagine co-op existing in that game right now, to be honest with you. I just looked at that game and I was like, that looks like a single player game to me, and I want to play alone personally. To me, so if they add co-op, I'm sure there'll be changes where they're going to have to improve the enemy density, and I think it's more than just turning on, hey, let another player pop in. I think that's probably why it didn't make the threshold. They're going to have to add more enemies and make it more difficult and stuff like that. But me personally, I'm not bothered at all by the lack of co-op at the beginning, because I really, really prefer to play Halo campaigns by myself the first time through. And anytime co-op is offered, I end up not doing that. Because even if I tell my friends, hey guys, don't bug me, I'm going to hop on and play Halo by myself, people are either hitting me up and being like, yo, let me hop in, come on, let's play through this level together, or they're trying to drag me away from the campaign to play multiplayer. And I like that now I'm going to be able to be like, hey, we can't play co-op, so let me just finish the campaign, and then in 3 months when co-op is added, we'll play through it again together, and it'll be a completely different experience. But you never get the same experience when you're playing with friends in terms of understanding the story, because they all talk during cutscenes, or they're chewing food, or they're vaping or something, doing something to irritate me, and
they want to skip the cutscene if they're in control.
They want to skip the cutscene, or whatever. Their mom's yelling at them. Like, there's just so much I don't want to deal with, and moms. So right, all Halo players always. So yeah, I'm kind of relieved that co-op isn't going to be there right away, because it's not like they're saying like, hey, no co-op, like they did with Halo 5, no split screen co-op. Remember that? It's not like they're saying that. They're just saying, hey, it's not ready. It's going to be a while. And I don't think they need to delay the game over a lack of co-op. I really don't. No, I think that's some people are like, just delay the game until it's a full game, and I'm like, dude, no game is full anymore. Like, that's just not how games are made in 2021. It's just not. It's so. I'm sure some people will be turned off by it, but it's on Game Pass. it's Halo. If you like it, you'll play it, and if you don't like it, wait 3 months and buy it then. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
it's just not that big of a deal to me.
So based on what you've seen from this current campaign versus what they showed us the first time, have any of your older concerns been assuaged?
No, because my main concern was not graphics. It was sandbox, and the sandbox always looked great to me. The open world concept always looked great to me. The only thing that has been added between now and that first campaign is I've seen more of the story, and I still don't know if it's going to be good. And that's my really only concern. So I've not been comforted or discomforted. I don't think they've gone in the opposite direction. I love that they're talking about Cortana. I was worried that they were just going to ignore it entirely when we saw that first trailer and it was all focused on the Banished. I was like, are they just going to ignore the Cortana thing? That's crazy. And now it's clear that they are not doing that. So that makes me feel good. But I knew that a while ago. I knew that at E3. So I still have the same concerns I've always had, and I don't think I will know the answer to those until I've played the campaign. So
I'm under the same boat. I am feeling better. I feel like the voice acting is letting me know like they are putting emphasis on making sure we feel something with these characters. And I
Master
feel
Chief is still so cool.
He's still so cool. But I like what they're doing with the weapon, too. Just the kind of, like you mentioned, the naivete and the innocence of it.
It's a good character.
Yeah, it feels like it's going to contrast well with the Master Chief, who has already had Cortana for so long. Now he's got this new AI. How is that
baby,
relationship going to work? You know, this hyper-veteran.
He's got this little child inside his helmet that's like asking him questions and stuff.
In fact, I think there's one point where she mentions something and he's like, "We'll be fine."
Exactly. Yeah. How do we know? What if it's a friendly? It isn't.
Yeah. Stuff like that. I feel like that's really going to develop the relationship, and I think that's going to be really important to 343 in the storytelling.
It kind of reminds me of that AI from Halo 5 Guardians, the one you meet at the end of the game.
The one
like
with
the purple one.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
The female, the one with the lady voice. I can't remember her name. But she's I'm gonna look it up real quick. But I
was thinking of the other guy who looks like he's always covered in snow, but or he's out there in the snow.
Which one is that?
Am I thinking of, or am I? I might be thinking of Star Wars. Wow. Ignore that.
That is a different world.
No, wait. I think I'm right. I think there is one. I'd have to look it up.
Explain it to me.
But I might be thinking of Star Wars, actually.
Halo 5 Guardians AI character. It's of course it's like, did you mean Cortana? I'm like, no, I didn't mean Cortana, guys. I'm talking about the, God, I was just talking about this character with somebody else. It's one of the oracles. It's like purple, and she's really weird and goofy. It's at
I know
the
who you're
second half
talking
of the
about.
campaign,
I can't remember the name of her.
It's a weird name. It's a really weird name. But that's who she kind of reminds me, is like a very good contrast to Master Chief and like making jokes and I love the voice actors. So I'm interested, man. I want to see if Cortana's going to be in this game, because I would not be surprised if she wasn't, and we just talk about her the whole time, and we get to that story later, way down the road. So I'd be interested.
We still got all the other stuff about the Forerunners and if they're lying and all this. It seems like
the Forerunners were in the trailer, so we're getting some stuff. I'm very excited about that.
Was that a Forerunner, or was that an enemy of the
alien?
Yeah.
Some people also think it's like that one character in the EU. It's like a proto Spartan, like one of the It's kind of, I can't remember the full thing.
I haven't gotten that far in the EU, so
the EU gets crazy. Like if I can make a recommendation, you should read the Forerunner trilogy.
That's on my list.
Those books are incredibly dense. It's like Dune level sci-fi in Halo, and it's just so dense, but it's so good. It's so good. But yeah, I'm really interested to see. I'm really hoping, and maybe you're on board with me, but it sort of has already been confirmed that the Flood are in this game. Kind of.
Yeah. I've been feeling that. Yes.
Based on just sort of like stuff we've seen around it, and we also know that the Flood were on Zeta Halo from other stuff we've seen in the EU. So I I'm wondering if they'll put all of the mobs in this game for the first time. If they'll have Covenant, Brutes, Forerunner, enemies, and the Flood, and you'll fight them in different campaigns or in different areas of the ring. Or, you know, people are also worried, like, oh, what if the area diversity isn't broad enough because it's all in a ring? Am I just going to be looking at jungle worlds the whole time? And I'm just like, bro, did you play Combat Evolved? It had swamps, it had icy peaks, it like that ring was had all these different biomes. So I'm not worried about that at all. I think if it's not there in the original campaign, it's going to be in some of the later campaigns, and they'd be stupid not to use the diversity of a Halo ring. So I'm excited, man.
Which is all going to set up for a PvPvE Battle Royale. No, just like
I'm still not on board. Look, I'm not against it. I just don't think that's where they need to be spending their time. I agree it would be good. You have the drop pods. That would be perfect for a battle royale mode. All of the Spartans kicking out of the drop pods and all that.
Did I tell you my battle royale idea for Halo?
No.
Okay,
maybe you did. I can't remember it. But
okay, so my idea would be it's a PvPvE. So you know how you have the areas usually that you can drop down.
You did tell me about this. You did tell me this.
So for the people who haven't heard, this is my idea. If battle royale was a thing, so it's a typical battle royale, but the PvE part is the different areas you drop down into are made up of the different factions: the Covenant, the Forerunner, UNSC. I didn't even think about the Flood, so the Flood could be one of them. So
that would be the tough one.
Yeah. And in those different areas, you have different weapons that you can try to get to. Obviously, people are dropping down and they're all fighting over the weapons. And of course, there's something closing down within. So you have to fight off the players. You have to fight off the PvE. You have tough enemies to defeat who are holding, rocket launchers or, the power weapons.
Yeah. The only part that doesn't make sense to me, though, is, in Battle Royales, there's that upgrade loop as you play through the game, and Halo's not really designed for that. Like, you get a power weapon, but maybe it has a couple shots, but you don't have like gold armor or like an ultra upgraded weapon. And it would feel really weird for Halo Sandbox to have like, oh, I've got a legendary BR and it's got all these extra perks and stuff. That just doesn't seem like Halo to me. And I've heard the argument from somebody else, this guy Ains, who I do podcasts with, and he's a really big Halo guy. He goes, Halo 5 Guardians had like 50 different versions of all the weapons, and some of them were like legendary versions. So they kind of already built, like a legendary version of the Saw and stuff like that. And he was making this argument to me, and I said, yeah, I mean, I guess, but something about it just doesn't feel right. Like, am I going to get a stronger shield, and I'm going to get more like health when I'm, as a Spartan? Like, there's just a lot of stuff that doesn't really feel like Halo to me. And
but that's what I'm saying. You wouldn't put any of that in there. You would just leave Halo as it is, because as it is, overshields, that's your extra health. You can. Yeah,
but then you have no reason to explore, though, because why would you take down all the PvE enemies if your only reward is you get like a rocket that has like 4 shots on it? You know what I mean? Like, that's not like in
power weapons is how you win in Halo. Right? Just in regular multiplayer, big team battles, it's always a fight over the power weapons. So if you want an advantage over your opponent who might be wielding a BR or something, you got a rocket, take him down in one hit.
But a rocket's not always, you can lose to a BR with a rocket.
Absolutely.
So you know what I'm saying? Like, Halo is more skill based than a lot of battle royales, where in a lot of battle royales your equipment is sort of like make or break. Like, if you have better equipment, you're going to win most of the time. And Halo's really not like that. And so I'm wondering if that would make sense, because like an overshield goes away really fast unless they make it like a permanent overshield, or they would have to get really creative with like the upgrades. I don't know. I've had so many conversations of what a battle royale would look like in Halo, and it always comes back to just, okay, now that we've been talking for 5 minutes, we've already created this version of a battle royale that sounds like a ton of work to make. And do I want 343 to spend all that time making this, or do I just want them to nail like big team battle and like make more maps? Like, and my answer is just do that instead. Like, I don't care that much about VR, so I'm not crazy about the idea, to be honest. But if it's in the game, I'll play it.
Because
like,
it feels like a franchise that just naturally could fit with a VR. Like,
everybody
just
says that, and I don't disagree. I get what they're saying. Like the drop pods alone would be perfect. Everybody drops onto a Halo ring and just starts exploring and killing things and stuff. I totally get that.
That's the ring, the Covenant glassing the planet.
Of course, yes, and the glassing. There's like already a perfect. Although the Covenant wouldn't glass a Halo ring, so it would have to be a regular planet.
Yeah, that's true. Just playing Reach.
Yeah. I like how we're already talking about lore considerations for this hypothetical battle royale that 343 has said doesn't exist multiple times, and people are still like, "Oh, maybe it exists." I'm like, it doesn't exist, dude.
It's fun to be a game developer and think of scenarios.
Yeah. I think they could add it. They for sure could add it. There's a separate app for multiplayer, so why not? But
speaking of multiplayer.
Let's get into it.
Yeah. You played the first technical test. I didn't get into the first one. I got into the second one, which was more expansive than the first. But when you played it the first time, how were you feeling about it?
Yeah, I can't believe it's been that long since we spoke about Halo. I guess it was like pre the first Insider flight. But the first Insider flight was amazing because I was just so confused the whole time. Like, first of all, we were just fighting bots, which didn't seem compelling at all when they announced that. I was like, fighting bots? Like, I kind of feel like I could pass this one. They ended up activating multiplayer matches for like an hour or two, in the middle of it. And I did play during that, and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. But just originally, they didn't announce that was going to be a thing. So I was like, all right, fighting bots. And then when I found out, you start playing it, and you're like, oh, they took out all of the Spartan abilities. So like, except for sprint,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, like you don't do the side dashes, you don't do the ground pound, you don't do
that stuff. I thought you were talking about like the equipment.
No. They took out all the Spartan abilities from Halo 5, and it makes the game feel like way different, right? Because it's like your movement is hindered. Really, the only abilities you have that they added in Halo 5 are Mantle and Sprint.
Yep.
And Sprint in Halo 5, they put a control on it where your shield doesn't regenerate while you're sprinting, or for like a couple seconds after, which I always thought was the perfect solution to Halo's sprint problem. Because if you don't put sprint in a Halo game, people are like, wow, this game feels really slow. And that's a legit complaint because games are just faster than they were now. But on the other hand, if you do put sprint in, people go, this isn't Halo. I'm running around. This is basically Call of Duty. And that's also a legitimate complaint. And so I always thought Halo 5's solution was perfect. Like, punish people who want to run, but let them run. And I thought that was great. But Halo Infinite has come up with an even more clever solution, which is add sprint, but make it almost nowhere. It's almost not faster than walking, which is, they've kind of tricked you into thinking that sprint is in the game. And everybody's like, oh yeah, this feels fast, I'm sprinting. But really all it does is kind of like change your field of view and make you feel like you're going faster. But you're basically not. It's kind of brilliant, actually. But yeah, it was really weird because I was playing it and I was like, wow, they kind of pared down the game and removed a lot of stuff, and somehow it feels better. And I'm a big fan of Halo 5's PvP sandbox. Like, I think it's like the best Halo sandbox out there. But Halo Infinite somehow instantly felt better. It felt old school, but it also felt like the stuff that they removed made it feel like crisper and like more pure in a weird way. And it's like an indescribable quality that I still, even after the second Insider flight, I still haven't been able to really like put my fingers on it. But it feels like Halo in a really, really good way. And I guess it's the new sandbox. I think it's the new engine that they built. It just feels so good. So yeah, I mean, those are my initial thoughts. Really the only issue I had after that first flight was I wasn't in love with any of the maps. And I still kind of feel that way a little bit. The one that's indoors, where it's like all mechanical, I can't remember the name of the map. I'm really bad at remembering the name of maps in all Halo games.
Same.
But the one that's inside, I like that one. But the one that's has a market in the middle really feels chaotic to me, and not like a like a great Halo map. It kind of feels like a Call of Duty map where it's just like one big
yes.
choke point where everybody's dying.
Yes.
And then the other one that's outdoors, that one is better, but it just feels a little odd. It's too it's too asymmetrical for me. The one where there's like that hallway right in the middle,
yes,
and then there's the open left side and open right side. It's a little asymmetrical for me, but I'm warming to it the more I've played it. But that was my only real pet peeve from the first flight was the maps I didn't immediately love, but everything else I did. So
yeah, I got into the second technical test, and I mean, from jump, I was like, oh my God, this feels amazing. Now,
right?
one thing I tried to do just on purpose was I played a whole bunch of Halo 3 before this came out, because I wanted to see how much it felt like old Halo. Because one of the things I was looking for personally was I want a fresh, new feeling Halo, but I still want it to feel like Halo 3. So after playing Halo 3, technical test comes out, I literally didn't have to change my play style. That's how good it felt. I was like, wow, I just finished playing Halo 3 instantly. If I jump from Halo 3 to Halo 4, I have to change my play style. Same thing with Halo 5. And I like Halo 5's PvP. But
it's very different from Halo Infinite. Yeah. I kind of did the opposite of you. I played Halo 5 right before I played the Halo Infinite technical Insider flight, and I was like shocked. I was like, wow, this is like so different. Like I'm gonna have to readjust all my stuff. So I kind of had the opposite experience of you. So that's great to hear, though. You felt like
it felt so good. Even the way the BR fires, it felt exactly. I think it's a little slower than Halo 3's fire rate, but
as it should be. Halo 3's BR is super OP.
Yeah, it's so good. But I mean, it still was like, this is the gun of choice. Like this is the gun you go for if you have the chance to get it, which is kind of interesting too, because we could segue into this point. The guns on the maps, they spawn differently every time you play. So I thought that was a nice touch. It's like, it's not going to be the BR there every time. Like on the Bazaar map, I think it's called Bazaar.
Yeah, you know the points to control, but you don't know what you're going to be getting out of that
power
spot,
weapons,
right?
Even the power weapons changed. So sometimes it would be the overshield, sometimes it would be the camo, sometimes it would be the sniper rifle, sometimes it would be the rocket launcher, or in certain maps it would be the skier.
some maps you know what you're getting, like that market level, that rocket launcher always spawns on that ledge, right? Or is it sometimes the sniper?
Yeah, I think it was always a rocket launcher. But on training ground,
like always a rocket.
Sometimes it was the skewer, sometimes it was the sniper.
Yeah,
rifle.
It has more variety by a lot, and I think that's good and bad. Like on one hand, I mean, people can play custom games if they want to control those things, which is something I just absolutely love about Halo.
Yeah.
But I kind of like that, like, you know what to control, but you're going to have to be good with multiple things. You can't just always run for the sniper rifle. Like, you have to kind of learn to play with the skewer if that's what you end up with. So I really do like that.
It felt so good that it almost felt like 343 had always known how to make a modern Halo game. And they were just like, we want to experiment a little bit first. We just want to experiment in Halo 4. We want to experiment in Halo 5. Because this feels like, my God, where have y'all been? Like, where has this been the entire time?
My theory is that the reason they couldn't make a modern Halo the way they wanted to is because they were using an engine that was 14 years old.
Are they using
the Blam engine was used from Halo 1 to Halo 5.
Really?
Yeah. It's the same engine. And
so they stretched that engine as far as it could.
They stretched that engine. And the reason they did, and you can see interviews with some of the devs talking about this, the reason they stretched it so long is because there was like God in the codes, like stuff that no one on the team really understood how it worked. And I think the AI is one of those things. Another thing that was part of it was like the way frags bounced around and the physics there. There were just certain things in the engine that were so perfect and that nobody could touch because nobody really understood how it worked. And they were just like afraid to move it. So what they ended up doing is when they built this engine, they put the Blam engine into this one, nested, and they draw from it for certain things. like the grenade physics and the AI, but
okay.
they're able to build a modern engine around it. And so the Blam engine is like pieces of it are still in the new engine, but this is their first engine since Halo came out, and they started working on it like 6 years ago. So that means they went 14 years with the same engine. And when Halo 5 came out, I'm sure that this new engine was like in its infancy, because people forget this, that first Halo trailer for Halo Infinite, that wasn't even a Halo Infinite announcement. That was the Halo engine announcement, where it showed all the animals.
Right.
Remember that? Yeah, the animals running around, and then at the end it showed Halo Master Chief standing next to the Warthog with his helmet. That was an announcement for the engine, and I think that scared me when they announced a new engine. I was like, dude, they've never, like, everybody's been afraid to replace the Halo engine because there's so much stuff in there that's like sacred. But whatever they did it right, and I think it paid off. But that's my theory, honestly, is that like the Halo just really badly needed an engine, and they knew that it was going to cost them like hundreds of millions of dollars to replace the engine for one game, right? And they finally did it, which is why this game took so long to make. It's been like 6 or 7 years since Halo 5. It's been a long time.
That theory sounds like it could be true, because, man, whatever magic they've done behind the scenes, I don't even like calling it magic. Whatever they've done behind the scenes.
Well, I referred to God code, so I think you get a pass on that one.
Yeah, I hear you.
I think that's what they've referred to it, though. They're like, there's something in the code, and there's like, none of us really fully understand the magic that's in there, but it's so funny.
Yeah, but it felt so natural. The sniper rifle fire rate speeded up a little bit, but man, hitting people with the sniper. But have you hit somebody with a skewer?
Yes. Oh my god. It's got that beautiful like that feeling of like shooting somebody point blank with a harpoon, and just imagine like the impact and like the chunk that comes out of it. It's so good. Oh my god.
Even you got to lead the shot a little bit, because it's more projectile based, and so when you do that, it's like
it's like shooting a spear at somebody. Yeah,
I have really not felt another gun that felt so good hitting somebody with a headshot than the skewer. Like that feels as good as sniping somebody.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to beat. I'm not great with the skewer, to be honest. I mostly use it at point blank range, which I don't think is how you're supposed to use it. I kind of like turn the corner and just chonk it at somebody and aim for center mass, because I know it's going to kill them right away. But everything about the game feels really good. I'm so interested to see how like the ultra competitive community reacts, because it seems like just such a tight sandbox.
Yeah, even the sprint, it felt like sprint was always in the game. Like, this is how Halo's always been played. Like,
it took me a long time. I was like, how does this feel so organic? And there's unlimited sprint. And then somebody pointed out to me, I think I saw a video, or so I was talking to a friend.
I saw a video on Twitter.
Yeah, apparently sprint is only 12% faster, and I'm like, that's how they did it. It's like not actually faster. It's so
like faster
brilliant
enough. Like, if you were walking versus running to a power weapon, the runner's gonna win. But
I think it stretches out the field of view too, which if you've ever played a game with a short field of view and a wide field of view, the wide field of view somehow makes you feel like you're running faster even though you aren't. So I think they use some like optical illusions and stuff to make you feel like you're sprinting, but whatever they did, it's kind of perfect, because it gives Halo sprinting without like ruining the kind of like strategic slow movement of Halo. So I am fascinated by what they've built so far, and I've really only scratched the surface, because that first one, I didn't really get to play a ton of multiplayer, and then I played the multiplayer weekend, and then now we did Big Team Battle. And I don't know if you got in on the Big Team Battle weekend, but that was just a ton of fun.
Yeah, that was
Capture the Flag is so amazing. Whatever happened to Capture the Flag? Why does so many game modes not have that anymore? That was like a staple in video games for such a long time.
I don't know if it's because the kill times are so fast now that it kind of ruins the back and forth that happens in Capture the Flag. I don't know, but
I feel like
back
we
in
stopped
Halo, and it
caring.
feels good.
Yeah, I feel like we stopped caring about the game part of multiplayer. Like, now it's just you want to kill things and be competitive, but multiplayer used to be like filled with games like Juggernaut and the Keep Away and King of the Hill and Capture the Flag and that bomb assault mode, and lots of game modes had that, where they felt like little mini games in multiplayer, and I feel like that's sort of just disappeared over the years.
Death
like we kind of just
kill confirmed.
Now it's just death.
Domination.
Just kill the team better. Kill the team better than the other team. And I feel like I really hope that Halo revives like the fun multiplayer modes, because it's just
based on what you say there. I mean, if you looked at the Twitter after the or even during the technical flights, everybody's posting something ridiculous. Like people were so excited just by all the crazy stuff that you could do with the grappling hook, the crazy shots people were getting, the fun stuff people were doing with vehicles. Like people looked like they were having fun again. Like it wasn't just like, check out these dope headshots that I got. It was check out like how I fell off the map and like grappled back onto the map and then I killed somebody.
Yeah. God, it's so great. I think what I'm comforted by is there's so many questions about the campaign, especially before this week when we got the trailer. But I think everyone already knows this game's going to be a hit when it comes to multiplayer. And that's just so clear to me. Like, this game is going to be like the next big games as a service ongoing multiplayer game. And I'm just like so excited for that even if the campaign was like disastrous in some unforeseen way, which I don't think is the case, but even if it was, the multiplayer is like such a safe bet that I'm just really not worried about it. Like Halo is going to continue to be relevant for years to come. And I'm excited to have it back, honestly, especially since Destiny PvP lately has been really trying for the PvP main community, and Destiny's been rough. And I'm looking for a new competitive game to kind of put all my energy into. So I'm very excited, man.
Same.
And I hope you'll play with me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
One more question. How do you feel about the Battle Pass? How did that feel?
Great. I'm so two things. One, I love the model of making the multiplayer free and selling battle passes, because it means that I get things for free, right? I don't have to pay for it. I can just hop on and play and not worry about like, oh, do I have all the right maps? Remember that in the old Halo games? I bought that map pack 1, but not map pack 2, so I can't play with my friends on those. Like that just sucked. And I also don't really like monthly charges or any like the service model. I don't want them to have to do stuff like that. So I love the idea of cosmetics and stupid stuff that people can buy, and then everyone gets to play the whole experience for free. And the other thing I really love is I love that they're not giving me FOMO about the battle passes.
Yes.
Now you can buy a battle pass. You can complete it at your pace, and if you don't complete it by the end of the season, that's fine. You can still earn XP toward it. And you can buy old battle passes, so you don't have to worry about like missing seasons. That is amazing to me, and I think if Halo Infinite multiplayer is successful, I have a theory that is going to be the norm going forward, because it is without a doubt the worst part about battle passes is that the whole FOMO and not being able to finish in time, and should I spend it now? I don't know. It's the end of the season. I don't think I'm going to be able to finish it in time, and all that stuff is totally gone with this new model. So I think if Halo is successful with that model, it'll replace everything we have now, and I think that would be enormous for the community, for like the gaming landscape, because the way battle passes work right now are stressful. Like you ever buy a battle pass and you feel stressed out about getting to the end of it? Like we both play Knockout City. Knockout City's got that problem where like a new season will come out and you're just like, oh, I got to get to the end before it's over,
Yeah.
So
this is what I
said. Destiny's another good example.
It's what I said in one of my earlier videos. I think I posted on Gaming Trend, or my personal channel. I don't remember, but I said if Halo's going to go the route of the Battle Pass, it has to change how Battle Passes work for it to be relevant, because so many people are so used to Battle Passes. Part of what's going to make Halo Infinite's multiplayer relevant is how the Battle Pass works. It's a weird reality, but it's true. What can I get? How does the progression work? And this looks like it's changing the game. My only concern, there's two things: the way consumables work and the challenges. The challenges aren't they tend to skew in the realm of use a thing to get 10 kills or whatever.
So you're worried that'll infect multiplayer maps because people are trying to do challenges rather than win the kills.
Yeah. Which it may not be as much of a concern because
that's a legit concern though.
Pace. Right, but
Yeah,
since you can go at your own
infects
pace.
Destiny a lot because there's like bounties where it's like get 3 kills with melee, and then people are running around just like trying to get melee kills and not playing well. So that's a legit concern.
But the fact that, like you brought up, you could go at your own pace might not be as big of a concern.
True.
That's a good point. Consumables were really annoying though, because you'd start one and you're on a 30-minute timer, and that timer goes while you're searching for a match. Yeah. I'm like, that's got to change, because there's so many times I got matched up and then it wouldn't let me go into the game or disconnected or whatever. And I'm like, my time's ticking. Hello. Like, I can't control these problems. Meanwhile, I'm missing out on extra XP. So I feel like
the consumables are just XP and SP and that sort of stuff, right?
Right.
So it's not like you're getting like to use like an overshield in game because you paid for it.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
It's simple stuff. But I mean, if you want to level up and get to something,
just start drinking Rockstar, bro. You see those Rockstar energy drink things, the double XP cans?
I do not. I mean, yes, but I don't know. I don't mess with the Rockstar. Absolutely not.
I'm not even allowed to drink energy drinks, but I bought a bunch of Rockstar so that I could get the double XP codes.
I was about to say, do I see those in the your back?
Oh no, that's just a different drink. But I have a bunch of Rockstar that I'm not allowed to drink. I'm trying to give it away to my friends, and then just give me the tab, let me keep the code. Yeah. So
there you go.
Yep, that's my plan, man. I'm a shill for the Halo industrial complex.
Hey, man. Somebody's got to help build it.
I got to get those skins, dude. Those skins are what sold me. You get a skin for your guns and for your Warthog. They're pretty nice. Yeah,
they are. So. All right. Well, appreciate you having this chat with me, Travis.
Yeah.
You can
always happy to do it, man. I love chatting with you.
Yeah. You can follow Travis on Twitter at TieGuyTravis. Yes, he is a Destiny man, but the man knows Halo if you haven't figured it out by now. He's also a writer for IGN, so check out his reviews there, and contributor here at Gaming Trend as well. My name is Anthony Shelton. Appreciate you listening. Talk to you later.